ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another time trial gold guide. This is, as always, an idiot's guide how to get gold. I'm not a particularly world-class driver, but this is to show you how you can get gold even without being a world-class driver, just by following some simple tips and tricks which I will share with you as we go around the lap. Feel free to look at other YouTubers who are particularly good drivers, but just bear in mind if you follow their guides you may not be able to replicate some of the things that they're doing. I'm hoping that the difference with this guide is that it's something that people can follow, and it also shows my thinking as to how I would go about achieving this gold. So this week's time trial is at Spa-Francorchamps with this Alfa Romeo 4C. Lovely little car, nice and light. We're on sports medium tyres, which are quite grippy. And you'll notice from the starting image that I have done something to the car. You should fit a body kit and a rear spoiler. It is allowed in the rules, and it'll just give you a little bit more grip. I am racing this with traction control on 0. I recommend that even if you use a pad, because this car really doesn't have much power, and traction control 0 will give you a lot more grip in the corners, allowing you to slide the car. If you don't have traction control on 0, you will find it much more difficult to slide the car. I've also got all of the assists off except for ABS, which is set to default, and as a disclaimer, I am using a steering wheel in this video, but you should be able to achieve the same results with the pad. Just follow the same techniques. So without further ado, I'm going to change the view to the view that I use, which is this front view. And we're going to go through, first of all, the lap with some pauses so that I can commentate on different corners, and then we'll go through the lap at full speed so that you can see how it flows. Here we go. And before we actually start the lap, actually I do just want to rewind already, because there is something missing off the start of this video. Unfortunately, the replay here only has the first few meters before the start line, but you can gain a tenth or two by getting a good exit from the first corner, from the last corner of the previous lap. When going through the last corner of the previous lap, you want to maximize the amount of straight line that you have on the exit so that you approach the start line at the highest possible speed. So you want to sort of sacrifice your speed through that last corner just a little bit to give yourself a nice squared off corner exit so that you can get a bit more speed over the line, and that can be worth up to 2/10. In this case, on this lap, I think it was worth about 1. So I promise we're going to start the lap now. We're coming into the first corner, and you want to be braking just as you pass that braking marker, which you can just see the shadow of it on the side of the track there. Unfortunately, we can't get it on the camera now, but there was a braking marker just on the grass there. You want to brake just as you go after it, down into 3rd gear. I don't really recommend going into 2nd. So it's okay having low revs. Keep the car to the inside. Aim for those markers on the rumble strip there. You can see the tyre marks. And it's really important to get on the power as soon as possible. Because you was in 3rd gear, it means that you won't have as many more gears to go through as you run down into Eau Rouge, which will help your acceleration quite a bit. Now, very important to take Eau Rouge properly, you need to be using as much of this rumble strip as possible, right? Number one mistake that I see is people are keeping all four wheels on the track here. Don't. And I just lifted off. You can't take it flat, in my opinion. I don't know if the pros are doing it flat. They probably are. But I just lifted off and aimed to hit this rumble strip, aiming for the tyre marks again. And then as soon as I'm through the corner, full power, straighten up. And you'll see what that looks like at full speed when we replay the lap. Now's a good time to go make a cup of tea because it's a long straight. Pick your nose, think of rude jokes, whatever. And braking for this corner here is, again, on the braking marker. I went for the 100-meter one. Just be very careful here because there's a bollard on the inside here. If you turn in too aggressively over this curb and hit that bollard, it'll invalidate your time. So you can see here I was quite apprehensive. I didn't want to get too close to that bollard. To get a gold, you don't have to be perfect. To be world class, setting the world record, yeah, you probably need to be leaving a whisker on that bollard. But to get a gold, you don't need to be too close to it. And on an ideal lap here, I would now have the car facing even further towards the right. I was slightly drifting out a tiny bit here, which then compromised this corner a tiny bit. But I'm going to keep the car over to the left. The priority here is to get the car turned in, and what you can see is I just lifted off ever so slightly, didn't need to brake. Lifting off generated that tiny bit of turn in and oversteer because it's a mid-engine car, and just make sure that you don't oversteer too much towards these bollards because again it'll invalidate your time. The key to a gold, I think, is be early on the power because this car doesn't have much power. So using the full width of the track on the power and braking down into this corner, it's just after that rumble strip started. I would time it just after it starts rather than when it starts. And then you want to just aim the car into the corner, third gear, just keep hugging the inside, like so, and then full power, use the width of the track. And here you want to sort of gently brake. Don't use the full brakes, just take a tiny bit of speed off the car and get the line right is what I would say. Is you want to mediate your turning so that you're not going to go too narrow and hit those bollards, but at the same time if you go too wide you're going to run off the track. So you've really got to just balance your steering and your turning on this corner. And you can see here I'm not on full power as I go through the apex. But once I'm sure that I'm going to get around, that's when I go to full power. Next corner, you're braking at 50 meters here. So you can see there, I brake in a straight line. Do not turn and brake at the same time. Get your braking done in a straight line. You can maybe point the car slightly towards the corner just a tiny bit whilst you're braking, but otherwise don't steer. And you want to just be aiming to clip this inside or come close to clipping this inside. And then as soon as you are through the first part of the corner, full power, pull the car to the inside to shorten the line, full power down here. Easy braking for this one because it's just where the rumble strip starts. Brake in a straight line, do not get the car crossed up and gradually turn in. You see here that I'm using just half of the brakes, yeah? Just very gentle. Here, I'm not even braking, really, I'm just easing off. And again here, so I'm braking where the rumble strip is, and I'm just moderating the brakes. Careful on the accelerator. This one, be careful not to turn in too early on this corner. You just want to just ease off a tiny bit, and then when you feel the car come stable, full power. And the next corner, I actually chickened out on this a little bit. It's definitely not flat, but it's just the smallest lift. Yeah, you just want a tiny lift. I made quite a big lift there. You see I was off the accelerator for ages. That's just because I already knew this lap was going to be good enough for gold. And then the braking for the final corner, it's just after the 150. There's not really a braking marker that's in line with this one. There's not really much around that you can use. I'm just looking around actually. I think there's a red fence post there that you could maybe use. But I think that's just a bit far out of your field of view to really be able to see it. So I just basically go past that 150 and just sort of in my head I just go 150 and then brake. You can tell I'm a musician, can't you? Yeah, sort of counting timing in my head. But anyway, go down the gears, and you want to really just go down to third. You can go down to second to try and generate a bit more turn in, but this car doesn't struggle to turn in, so just down to third is okay. The key though is you want to be over to the right here. Yeah, it's a left-hand corner coming up, and it's followed by a long straight. So really you want to be prioritising keeping to the right here and getting a nice exit. So I didn't quite pull this off on this lap. I could have done better by sticking even further to the right. I kind of made this a little bit more tight than I should have done, but keeping third gear, foot down and across the line. Now for a full lap at full speed. So you see there, down into third, keep it tight, on the power as soon as you can. You need to be on that power as soon as possible out of there. Remember, all four wheels on that rubble strip. And then just ease off, field the car in, and then full power again. Again, the sooner you get on full power down here, the quicker your lap's going to be. Like every car, you want to be braking on the brake marker down here at the 100. Just be careful not to hit those bollards. Small mistake here for me. Doesn't look as bad when you play at full speed. You can see how there I just lifted off until I was confident that the car was going to make the apex. Nice easy corner this one, I think. Not many people struggle with this corner, to be honest. But this one, very easy to accidentally clip those bollards. I gave them a very wide margin there. Brake at the 50 straight line, and then just guide it in to that apex. And as soon as you've hit that rumble strip, you can go full power. Brake where the rumble strip starts, and moderate the brake as you go through the corner. Lift for this one, don't really need to brake. And just dab the brakes, let the car roll. Full throttle as soon as you're on that rumble strip, and then this one is just a case of letting the car roll through it. Just be playing with the accelerator to generate the oversteer to help you counteract the understeer. This is where I'm a complete coward. We'll see that in full speed. Bloody hell, I was a coward there, wasn't I? Could have taken that a lot faster. And this is where my next mistake went. And this is comfortably fast enough to get the gold. A 2:42.06, and the gold at the time that I made this is 2:42.58. So half a second under the gold. Enjoy the 2 million credits that you get. Keep practicing, keep at it, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, and see you soon.